Miosha.
If
Mhm.
you're watching the show on Netflix, meet us in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. But before you do that, please make sure you are subscribed to our channel and give this video a like. All
Mhm.
right, so we have only two episodes, episodes 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I feel like the creepy factor has decreased. I don't know if it's
Really?
because of who exited.
Yeah, the creepiest of the creep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it, and I think honestly, if it was like a 30-year age gap and she was in her 40s or she was in her 30s, that would be different. I think it was
Mhm.
because she was in her 20s that that increased for me. But anyway, so episode 6 and 7. Uh in episode 6, we start off with John and Teresa. I don't know
Yeah.
if you watched this show called Passions. It was a soap opera. We were probably
I
in
know
like
what it
middle
is,
school,
but I
high
never
school when it
watched
was
it.
out. Okay, well, there was a character named Teresa on there, but they were like a Spanish speaking family, and
Mhm.
so the mom would be like Teresa, and so anytime I see the name Teresa, I want to pronounce it like that because I think about passions.
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
But John and Teresa, so the families are coming, and he's nervous about the families coming, as is she. He's
Mhm.
hoping that he can get his family out of the way because that'll give him some type of comfort before he meets her family, whoever comes for her.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like at this point he's showing a normal level of nerves.
Yes.
Teresa, I'm already annoyed with her. Like, girl, why are you here?
It's quite
You,
off the charts. It's
it's
quite off.
giving. It's way too much. And so one thing I wanted to talk about
Hmm.
is all of the couples, not just John and Teresa. It seems as though they didn't know who was coming. Were they
Nobody
acting or
did.
was that for real?
Yeah, it seemed like nobody knew because they were like, "Oh, whoever is gonna come, friends or friends." I imagine they have to put down a list of people who could
Okay.
potentially come, but they don't know how many of them are coming, or which one of them is coming.
Okay. And my follow up was, so you don't have your phone. Like, say if I give someone, I'm on this show, which would never happen. I give them a list of people. Say
Never
Samir is
say
on
never.
Samir is on this list. We talk literally all day, every day.
Yeah,
I will know what flight she's on. It don't matter what part of this earth she's on. We're keeping tabs.
they
So
don't have their phones, I don't think.
I don't know. To me, I was like, is this believable? Even my mom, like, we be talking. Oh, you getting on your plane? Okay, I know where you're at. Why are you coming here? Now you
Because
flying in secrecy?
their their experiment is much shorter, I think, than say like Love is
Mm,
Blind. So Love is Blind, they get their phones back after the vacation.
okay, so maybe
But
they did.
yeah, so I don't think they're getting their phones until the decision is made.
Wow, even more crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So they have a discussion about whether or not they're going to disclose age to their family members. He says he's not going to because she doesn't want it. Like she's very. And here's the thing, I think Teresa should do what it is that she wants, but in this case, it is infringing upon maybe what he wants to tell his family or how comfortable he is with sharing um their age difference. So I appreciated him for not pushing back heavily because she's clearly in a state where she is very tense and nervous. But I put down that eventually she might have to give a little bit on his side of things because if he wants to have these discussions with his family, he should be allowed to do that without worrying about backlash from her.
I agree. I don't think that it was fair that because she's uncomfortable sharing it with her kids, like that, I
Mhm.
understand. But with
Yeah.
his family, if it were left up to him, he would have that conversation because it makes it, to me, an even bigger deal when you
Yeah.
know that that's a normal question people ask, even when you appear to be in the same age. That's just a normal, oh, where'd you grow up from? Where'd you grow up? How old are you? Where are your people from? Like, that's very normal conversation. And now it just makes it awkward. So I didn't like how it felt like she was imposing how she wanted it done on him. And I think because of the age difference, he went along with it,
Yes.
meaning he's less likely to push back on things like this.
Mhm. Mm, I see what you mean. Okay. All right, so then they do end up meeting his family in this episode. And so
Yes.
it's his mom who is 67, so they're making it a point to put their family members and
I didn't write
friends.
down any of the ages, but I thought that was interesting. What? Why?
Because they're messy. Oh my gosh, why would
They're
you do that?
reinforcing
Yes. Oh Lord,
60,
yeah.
67, 54.
Mhm. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then his sister is 31. I thought all the family interactions went quite well. The family members were kind, which, well, I was gonna say, well, they're all adults, so that makes sense. But some of them are younger adults, so there would be concern. But in this case, the mom and
Mhm.
the sister I thought were very kind. I appreciate it. So when Teresa sat down, they, were asking certain questions. She talked about her mom, but did not bring up her kids at all, which I thought was interesting. I thought at least maybe she'd let them know that she had kids, but she didn't bring that up at all. And so Teresa, I would want her to do a show like this maybe in a couple of years, maybe once she's gotten her, I don't want to say like her big girl wings, but kind of like when she has done the work to step away from all the, caring so much about the opinions of others and what society thinks. But not right
Yeah,
now.
her moving in all of this secrecy does not help her to present well, especially on very obvious things. No one's asking you to spill all your business, but
Mm-hmm.
very general things around if you have kids or not, your age. One thing I wanted to talk about, and it's not just Teresa, but it's all of the people on this show. Most of the families are asking, so what made you want to do this? What was the process like? Every last one of them claimed, like, oh, we were just in this big group of people and we were just attracted to each other. We didn't even know each other's age. Okay, whatever you need to tell yourself. It's so obvious that the younger people, some of them may have been narrowing in on obviously older looking people. You didn't know the official age. And then the
Mm-hmm.
same with the older people, Teresa. He could, even if he was 35, say, that's still a
Mm-hmm.
significant amount of years younger
Yeah.
than you. So this whole thing around,
Absolutely.
oh, we were just all in one big group and we just so happened to zero in. If you're, if I don't want to call it a lifestyle, but if this is what you're into, lean all the
Mm-hmm.
way into it because if anything, you avoiding it
Yeah.
makes it even more obvious. It's not believable.
Yeah, and I feel like I give a lot of grace to Teresa because of the fact that she has the kids and they're so close in age to or even older than the person she's dating. So I found myself trying to give her a lot of grace, and
Mhm,
understanding that anything new can be like jarring. So
mhm,
that's why I don't think she should be on the show. I'm like, give it a few years so that you're not so like pressed with what
mhm.
everybody else thinks. Anyway, so I appreciated his family, his sister and his mom, because they waited until Teresa got up to leave before they said, okay, what things can we even approach with her?
What's
And
going on
like,
here?
yeah, and they were kind enough to ask his boundaries and her boundaries and tread lightly. So I thought that was amazing on their part.
Yeah, I think they handled him basically saying y'all are gonna have to just wait and back off. I think that they handled it well,
Hmm.
especially
Yeah.
given the obvious age difference between the two. Even when they talk about even whether he wants kids or not, like he says, "Oh well, I'm in a place where I feel like I could go without kids." Okay.
And that's okay. Like I feel like for our generation and younger, like that's probably going to be a very real, like real possibility for quite a few people. So I'm not surprised, by what he
I
says
think
and
what could be surprising is if this is the family's first time
hearing
hearing
it. Yeah.
hearing it. So it's not whether they want kids or not. It's like another person on this show. The parents have never heard that you didn't want kids. And all of a sudden you don't want kids. And now you're pairing with this person almost double your age.
Yeah, yeah. Yes,
It's the switch
absolutely.
up.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then later on, so we get the mom and the sister in their own little confessional, and the sister talks about how it was really off-putting that she didn't bring up her kids herself, because again, this is something that she is proud of and she's not ashamed of. So why the secrecy? And if I were a family member, I too would feel the way that they felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Evasive for no reason.
Yeah, yeah, very much. I think she's in her head about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate to share, and it's like she's just wrong.
And I think in her mind, she really believes by withholding this, this is going to give both sides a chance to just get to know them for who they are. No, they're the first thing they're going to be thinking is, oh, I saw you again and I still don't know how old you are. Oh, I saw you again, but I still don't know if you have kids or not, how many kids, what are the ages of the kids.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still going to be a speed bump before every interaction because it's odd.
It's gonna be in the back of people's heads. They're probably playing investigator, looking her up now. By the end of that conversation, I would have known her age. Exactly. I would have put my homegirls on it.
Listen.
Okay. But then later on he meets with his sister Sarah, and she's just being a good big sister. And I think she's telling him, think about what your life would look like. You're young and there are a lot of things that you still have yet to experience. And you want to give yourself the space to experience those things. You don't want to cut off. I wish you were more specific because again, because it's like because of the gender differences and how gender operates in our society.
Mhm.
I don't know that there are very many things he would want to experience that he can't with her. But I mean, that's for him to think about, especially considering that her kids are much older. I don't see anything there being a huge hindrance. I think their biggest issue, from what we see with the edited clips, is her discomfort.
Yes. And if
Yeah.
he were to change his mind at any point about the kids. Yeah.
Yes. Very true. All
Okay.
right. Then we have Pfeiffer and Derek. Did you have anything else on them?
No,
On
anything else.
okay. All right, so Pfeiffer and Derek. Pfeiffer is a little ball of nerves this episode.
She is. He's
Both
pretty
episodes, actually.
calm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, him being calm makes sense at this point because he's laid everything out for her.
Mhm.
If you want to pick up your life and move across the country to be with me and my boys, you can do it. That's why I think he's very calm. Like I don't want to say he doesn't have much skin in the game, but I think she knows going into this, her parents would already be thinking, okay, well, what does this mean for you
Hmm.
versus him, even on top of the age difference.
Yeah. No,
So,
I felt like her nerves were quite normal. But she was saying she was nervous in this episode because her parents are coming. They've never seen her this vulnerable with a man, and then let
at
alone a man
23,
who twice as yeah, exactly. I mean, and they keep saying, "Oh, she's been through so much." So I just wonder what the previous relationships have looked like that have them saying, "Oh, she's been through so much at 23." And I know some people who are young and have gone through a lot of things, so that's not to say that young
mm-hmm.
people can't experience, but I think I'm just more curious about what the things are that she's experienced that she feels like have prepared her for this or that have sent her in this direction.
Yeah. One of the things I was also wondering too before the dinner with her parents was, is this her first time dating interracially? Do her parents have any thoughts or feedback on him being black? They don't talk about race or the interracial aspect of their situation at all.
Mm-hmm.
At dinner, she is really going through it. She don't want this man to touch her, barely sit near her. Um,
Yeah.
I
A lot.
said, I was like, is she gonna make it through this dinner? It wasn't looking
It's
good.
It's so funny because her parents were so calm. I don't know, maybe they're not like that at home. Now, some of our parents wouldn't have even sat down at the table, sis. So, like,
You know
you
what I
have
think
great
it
parents.
also is too? She has an interesting dynamic where both of her parents they've been separated. She said
Mhm.
that she hasn't seen her parents together since her graduation or something big.
Yeah.
Sounds like she dealt with a lot of step parents on both sides. Maybe it was tumultuous. So maybe it was the meeting of Derek plus her parents being there together. And if they have a history of a tumultuous relationship, maybe she felt a way about both of her parents being there, I wonder.
But she didn't even know that both of them were coming until, like, she was acting that way before they
Yeah,
even
even
showed up, and
beforehand,
she had no
yeah.
idea who was showing up or how many.
But if
So,
she had to have put both of their names down, so there was always
yeah.
a possibility.
Very true, very true. Okay, so anyway, so at the meeting she was nervous, didn't want him to touch. I love the coordinated outfits, even though they didn't try, but it was a lot of pink and navy going on, which is a beautiful color combination. Anyway, so her parents are both like 18 to 25 years older than Derek. So I was like, okay, at least they're not his age range. There's
Mm-hmm.
some distance still between them. So I thought that was good. They have a good dinner. Like, conversation flows. He seems comfortable with them. They seem comfortable with him. Again, they seemed like people who came in trying to be comfortable with the case, with the
Mm-hmm.
situation, but also they didn't know how old he looked, how old
Mm-hmm.
he was. They were just going based off of his looks. And then the mom asked about the age difference.
Yeah. Something that the mom said when she was asking him about what made you choose this process, he was like, oh, well, things weren't going well in the dating work scene. I've made the same mistakes, just different person. And the common denominator is here is him. I wanted to know more about his dating history. I don't know if he's ever been married or not. He has a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. What
Mhm.
happened with that 5-year-old's relationship?
Are they different? I mean, it seems like they would have to be different mothers. Um, but I mean, it doesn't have to be, but in the case where
It
he
sounds
wasn't
like it
married.
is.
Yeah. And so I feel like there's information about these people that we just do not have. And maybe it's us being nosy, because when Love is Blind is on the air, not only are we getting details from the show, but we're getting tea from outside sources as well. I just feel like we don't know much.
I just, for me, if you have, there's nothing wrong with having two children with different parents, things like that happen. But the most recent one, I want to know, were y'all married, engaged? Was this like, what happened with that? Because that child is still relatively young. What, that would have put him at 38 when the child was born. Was there intention to make things more serious? Are things officially over and done? Because we know people go back and forth sometimes for a few years when these kids are young. So I would be pressing more about what is your dating history even post the 5-year-old? When did you break up with her?
Happy.
We need more information on what happened there. And do the boys typically live with their mom full time? Are they living with you full time? Or what does the time look like split? We also find out in this that she don't like to babysit.
And is not good at it. So they said both of those things. She doesn't like babysitting, which, I mean, you're in your young 20s, girl. I understand. But you're not even good at it when you do.
Eh, yeah, I don't know if it sounds as though she may be an only child. I don't know. This is just sounding like this would be a big jump from the lifestyle she currently has.
Everything is changing. She's moving from one place to another. She's, well, she's not going to become a stepmom, but she's dating someone who has kids. She doesn't have to be a stepmom. That's a decision she would have to make down the road. They're not getting married right away. But yeah, it seems like a big decision to make at 23.
Yeah, and it would be, even though she wouldn't be a stepmom, if she picks up and moves and she's in the home when the kids are there, you're the maternal mother figure in the home. So even if it's not official, you're the unofficial maternal
Mhm.
figure when the mom isn't around. And that would be, I think, a lot for a 23-year-old to take on, especially if you know you really don't like kids like that, which is perfectly fine. You know,
Mhm.
you don't have to force yourself into being that role or figure or have
Yeah.
to like babysitting. But you're jumping in at 5 years old. There's still a lot of heavy lifting with a 5 year old. Maybe not 15,
Mhm.
but
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah. I feel like her dad was just very comfortable. They left he and Derek to have a conversation. Both of the parents said that their communication seems very solid and their connection seems very solid. It seemed like they were happy to see that their daughter was finding something and that they were very trusting of her
the
in
dad
whatever
even
decision
got
she made.
choked up. I was like,
Yeah.
was there
See,
more
this
to that? Because
well, her
based on
dad
what we
raised
heard,
her.
hmm?
Her dad raised her, like, she was living with her dad for the most part as a
Yeah,
child. So, maybe
yeah.
there's that. But I said, "This is the type of parent I would want to be." It's like what you ordered versus what you got, but I just know I can't. I'm just not this cool, calm, and collected. I would be like Milton's mom from I just know it from Love Is Blind when he brought Lydia up in there and the mom was like, what you got going on here? Like that. I want to be Pfeiffer's parents, but I don't know that that agrees with my
But
personality.
something that the dad said, and given that he raised her, he knows his daughter. And when she puts her mind to something and she wants it, she
There's no
goes for it.
stopping
So he
her.
may already know, he knows her temperament, demeanor, what may light a fire under her, you know? And
Hmm.
so he may be taking approach of let me be supportive and give her space so that
Yes,
I'm
yes.
not pouring gasoline unnecessarily and amping her or moving her in that direction. So
Any
I think it
direction.
also just depends on the child's temperament
Yeah.
and how they respond to critique and feedback and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I love it. Hashtag goals, you know?
And so I could be reaching with this. I think Derek looking younger, a little bit younger than he is, I think put the parents at ease.
Yeah. And him being so kind. Like Derek just seems like good people.
Yeah, he
Looks
has
can be
good
deceiving.
energy,
But yeah, just very calm energy, which would
but
put me at ease because, yeah,
they were very blown away by his age. Now black people we know, like we're like, yeah, that seems about
we called
right.
it first episode. He about 40 something.
hmm But for them, they could have been thinking, oh, he's 34 to 40, right? I think that they were thrown off by his age, but in a good way because he looks to them a lot younger than what he actually is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think if he looked older, significantly older, I think they would have had more of a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I could
The
be
only
reaching.
problem
I don't
that
know.
they highlighted, and it was the mom who did this, but she was saying this experiment is, they're in a bubble. So who's to
Mhm.
say what reality is going to do? And maybe that also puts the parents at ease because, okay, we'll see what happens when this goes out into the real world.
Yeah, there's still a lot
Realistically
of
speaking,
steps.
there's so many steps.
Mhm.
So many steps. All right, that's all I had on them. And then Andrew and Libby,
Okay.
they had their friends come. I don't know about these two. I don't know
So
about these
it
two.
confirms their level of unseriousness. Nobody from their actual family, not a sibling, not an auntie, not a cousin. Both sets of y'all friends. Okay.
The homies. The homies pulled up.
Who they secured a free trip to Vancouver for their friends.
Pretty much, pretty much. But one of her one of her friends says, I'm trying to be a therapist, so I'm gonna have the questions. And so she was the one who was asking stuff
Mm-hmm.
mostly around his kids and his relationship with the mother of his, which is more than Pfeiffer's parents asked Derek to our knowledge, right? Like, so she
Mm-hmm.
was asking. I mean, he does have the kids by the same person. So, you know, either way, at the end of the conversation, she said something like, I would want to hear what the mom's point of view is. Insane.
Yeah. because people will say anything when they're right in front of your face. Also, we haven't heard whether he was married to
He wasn't.
this. He wasn't.
Because he said he was so young so he was 22 and 24 when he had the kid.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So this would, yeah. So he's never been married. Um, I just get so much unserious energy from this whole interaction.
At least her
Um,
friends tried to be serious. I feel like his friends didn't even attempt. They're over here putting bets on it. Who like, I said she was gonna be blonde and she was gonna be 22 to 25. Like,
yeah, he also is another one where he's claiming to be so surprised by her age. Andrew, come
yeah.
on. Your friends confirm that this is usually who you go for. I
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
didn't like how they did all the friends together at once. I wish that they
Hmm.
would have just done it separately because
Why
then
is
it just they just because it was probably cheaper. It's just one big hangout session.
that? No, why do you feel like they should have separated the friends?
Because when his friends came in, they ended up backtracking
Hmm.
to like, well, how did y'all meet? And da da da
Hmm.
da. Like the conversation went back instead of forward. Headband was trying to dig deeper,
Hmm. Oh,
but
gotcha.
she got
Gotcha.
thrown off because it's like, oh, well, we got to catch them up to what
Yes.
we already know. And then before you know it, they were separating off. So I don't know.
Hmm.
It would have been nice just to have two separate sessions like everyone else had instead of
Okay.
circling back. Headband was trying to do her work, but
Headband was there. Yes, she was earning her free trip. It was cute the looks that the girls were giving each other whenever whenever new information would come up. I'm like, this is
I,
such.
I think I took a screenshot actually of Headband. Whenever she was claiming that she wanted an emotionally intelligent man, Libby, what about him tells you, okay, fine. Headband was putting in that work.
All right. So anyway, the girls are talking to their friend Libby, and they're telling her, this is gonna be you're pretty much like a big sister to them. Are you ready to come in and be assisting with kids who are 12 and 14? And I mean, she's not coming in right away. Like I imagine if they went back, they're gonna be long distance. So she might not even have to interact with the kids for some time, and then they have enough space to decide if they want something more serious or not. I don't.
They, I think they also know their friend
Yeah.
and just the stage of life that they're probably all in, which is nothing wrong with that.
No.
But I think whenever she was saying like, "Oh, I'd be like the big sister," no, that's weird. If you're around and you're dating their dad, you're the dad's girlfriend.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's it. But also, just I think Headband was trying to get at you're a woman 22, 23 years old, even just the influence you would have over them and being so close in age, especially to the 14-year-old. You're
Mm.
full line through your 20s, which is great for you. But does his daughters really need that as influence at the impressionable age that they're at in their preteens?
Well, I think it's up to him to decide how much he's going to shelter them from. Like, okay, y'all can't follow Libby on Instagram. Y'all can't, like
Mm,
there's certain things he will have to put the guidelines in, but the friends
mhm.
ultimately decide that Libby has matured since this process, which I'm like, it's been 2 weeks, maybe three. But they said that she has on rose-colored glasses since she's been in the bubble, and I agree.
I think the interaction with his friends told it all, especially the Amir guy. They know how unserious he is. I mean, and then he officiated Amir's wedding. I'm like, well, that is so
Men,
random.
men, male friends just do anything.
And who is the bride that signed off on it?
I wonder if the other friend is married. Like, I don't know.
They both were married.
They're both married.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw rings.
I feel
So,
like he's the friend who they're like, oh, he's still out here sowing his oats and eventually he'll catch up. Like, I don't think.
but Amir was like, no, you've been out here living. You've been out here having fun. You're 38. You own a bar. Like, the other friend was like, oh, let him live. Amir said, no, you've been living.
Mm.
Time to rein it in.
I think, and I hate to go based off of first impressions again of people who we don't know, but that's all we have. But from the beginning, when he said what he was looking for,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he was kind of unserious.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we talked about this. That's why we were so confused about when he would say, oh, I want to see the more serious side, or I'm looking for, like, come on. What are you looking for here? A good
And
time.
then at 12 and 14,
14.
his daughters, they have Netflix. They're going to be able to see this. And so I'm also just thinking, like, whenever she says, like, oh, he's emotionally intelligent, it's like his daughters will have access to watch all this back. Not that nothing terrible has happened, but
Mhm.
even just the example of a man and how unserious we can see that he's being. I don't know. It's all very questionable.
Well, all right. That's all that I had on them.
Yeah.
Then we go into Chris and Leah. Uh,
Okay.
Most of these couples just should have never gotten together, but I don't necessarily see any of them lasting.
The
Maybe
distance
Jonathan.
alone,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So they meet with Nina, his mom, who is 57. So she's, what, 16 years older
Hmm.
than Leah. Yeah. So the age gap is smaller between Leah and his mom than him and Leah,
Him.
right?
Hmm.
Or
It
is it
is.
the same? No,
It's about the
it's
same,
16 years.
right in the middle.
Yeah, so it's about the same. Okay,
Hmm.
so they meet with Nina, who is lovely. She says that Leah looks 30 at most. And his mom says, okay, like he's mature for his age, but I don't know about 41. Like that's a lot. And she kept saying, oh, well, Chris, you look happy. And I was like, I don't know. She knows her son, so maybe that's what his happy look, what happiness looks like on him. But to
Hmm.
me, he didn't look happy necessarily during their interactions.
Yeah, and at 26, I don't know how much his mom has seen him around because we don't know his dating history. So if this is like maybe one or two times that she's even seen him bring a young lady around, then
Mhm.
her point of reference of seeing him in a relationship dynamic,
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate because he didn't look happy to me either.
Yeah. Leah, it seemed she was warm and welcoming to the mom. So, she's herself, she's bubbly, she's fun. She was all of those things. Uh, she was obviously more talkative than he was during the time that she was there. But eventually she leaves to go back to the apartment so that they can have one-on-one time. And that's when Chris starts to tell his mom how he's really feeling. He's like, I want to tell you how I'm feeling, and you tell me if like I'm tripping or not. Essentially, was what he was like.
Hmm.
And I felt like his mom did a great job of trying to offer a balanced opinion of this is going to be hard. Like it's going to be a difficult thing, and if it's something you want, you should push through with it. You shouldn't just stop because it's not what you're used to. You haven't lived with anybody. I guess she hadn't lived with anybody. And so she did a good job of sharing, like, this is something brand new to you. So it might take some adjusting. But also, if you're not happy, then you have to make the tough choice of letting this go.
Yeah. And she also said, like, it's hard for you, but it's probably also hard for her
Yeah.
as well. Like,
Mhm.
it's hard for the both of you. And I think when you're in a space of, I'm struggling, it's hard, like, you get wrapped up in thinking about yourself only, which makes sense to a certain
In this
extent. But
experiment. Yeah.
I think it's hard on both of them, but in different ways, because I think they just have different expectations and they're not a good match. They're not the right fit. I appreciated how his mom wasn't like, oh, well, maybe she should be doing this and she should be doing that. Like, I'm glad she didn't go down the rabbit hole of my son, my son, my son. Like, I feel like you're right. She was very objective, without offering up opinion about Leah and how things should be, and she only probably had a good 30-minute interaction with her. So I appreciated her for that.
She was realistic and held him accountable, but didn't dismiss his feelings. And, she said, listen, if you can't work through these things, then it's not going to work. Like, and that's just objectively true. Like, if these are the things you're
Yeah.
getting hung up
What she
on.
was like, she's not like she looks great for her age, but she's not a young lady. And I
Mhm.
think as a mom, I think it is possible to be objective and put yourself in the position of a woman. She herself was 41 at a certain point before.
Yeah.
She knows her son. And so, yeah, I think she handled that conversation as well as she could. But what I will say is, I don't know, he started to be on some telenovela tears during that interaction. And the way his mom was just looking at him like, okay, okay, Chris.
Has to grow up, right? Like, certain conversations that he has later, he should have had earlier. And so I think he just needs to be a better communicator. I think he needs to put his foot down on certain things that are non negotiable for him. Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. He does need to communicate more because I don't know if he's truly been open at this point about how overbearing she's being towards
Mhm.
him. I think he's kind of walking on eggshells. So we can jump to the conversation that they have later at the apartment if you want.
Yeah. So he gets back to the apartment. He's trying to have this serious conversation with her. And he's saying he's confused about what the next step is because he's walking on eggshells with her. And so in this, he didn't necessarily in this conversation share that he needs space, uh, and that he can't like be himself or whatever. Like he talks more about walking on eggshells than he does about why he feels he's walking on eggshells and what the main issue is.
And she says she feels like they can't just enjoy a moment. Like they'll be doing great, have a good time, and then boom, they're right back to not being in a good energy or space.
Mm-hmm.
And so she says she just wants him to live in the moment. She feels like he's thinking too much about the future. But I think where the miscommunication is, Leah, he's not happy right now.
He also thinks about the future a lot, like, and talks about the future a lot. So they're
I think
both
she
going.
she thinks that that's what's weighing him down and not her being overbearing right now.
But how will she know? How will she know?
How will she know?
If you don't
But yeah, she says she wants to get back to them having fun like they were at the retreat. Yeah, Leah, see, y'all were having a lot of physical chemistry and lust at the retreat. I don't know if you're going to get back there.
the
Um,
honeymoon's over, it's
he
not
he
coming.
says that he's mentally exhausted, and I'm like, wow.
That's a
And,
statement.
and then he once again, I had to take a screenshot of this, squeezing out some more telenovela tears until he.
Leave that man and his tears alone. He was being real. But
You
at the
think
end
he
of
was
this,
being real?
I don't know what Chris's life has been, but I don't know that he's been in a relationship that has required him to mature this much.
I just want to know what is Leah. Yeah, she's been overbearing, but the way
But
he's
it's not her. It's him and his lack of like yeah, he's not able to communicate properly.
I
And
just
so I
like
think
he's
it's him. Like he's his own issue. She's a part of it, but I think he's never had to be in a situation where he's had to say what exactly he wants, what exactly he
hmm
needs. He's never had to articulate maybe to a partner how their way of being is negatively impacting him. And so he's confused about how to do it, what to do. So I think it is a lot on him mentally just because he hasn't matured to that state.
mm. I'm like, dang, mentally exhausted. Mom, I'm really struggling. He going through it over there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's them. They conclude the conversation with her saying she doesn't want to feel like she's pressuring him and they can take it one day at a time. All right.
Yeah,
And then
Leah, give him some space too. Because he's trying to tell you. And she,
anyway, he's not using the right words, but I think in next episode that's where I'm like, yes, finally they have this
Mm.
conversation. But just to conclude, Logan and Vanessa,
Okay.
our last couple, so they're meeting with his parents who are 63 and 61. And for as a reminder, Vanessa is 49.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyway, they seem to have a lovely chat with the parents, but at the end, the mom's like, okay, so you live in Dallas, she lives in Ohio. What are you guys gonna do about the long distance?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Vanessa was talking a lot during this conversation. A
She
lot.
was, she likes to overtake conversations.
Mhm.
And for her to be as, I think, sensitive as she is, especially on like certain things around the age and the
Mhm.
optics of it, I don't know. I felt as though she should have let him maybe take more of the lead in navigating the conversation with his
His
parents.
parents. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then once the age was revealed, Vanessa asks his mom, how do you feel about that age difference? And I think the mom handled it so well. These parents, I mean, if they wrote a book on parenting, I'd read it. Well, based on what I saw in this episode, I don't know what trauma they brought to their kid's life. But the mom said very honestly, I don't know. I don't know
Mhm.
yet. I'm at a place where a lot of my friends are having grandkids or my friends are becoming grandparents. And that's something that I desire for myself. So I don't know how to take the age difference.
And then this is something that also shows maybe their age and maybe his lack of self assurance. But when they
Mhm.
were talking about the whole living in different places, she says, like, we're still trying to figure this out. But, I'm here in Dallas. He could be, or I think he's in Ohio.
He's in Dallas. She's in Ohio.
Okay. But either way, she made a comment to the parents around like, well, that would be something for him to decide. I don't know,
Mm.
like the way she said it, I'm like, girl, you just met these people. She was being, I think, a bit more assertive than I would be in a first meeting
With parents.
with parents. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
because yeah. Anyway, so the she leaves, so he is with his parents, and yeah, they're just very frank with him. Like, okay, but you have to think about if you want to do the whole kid thing, because they had never heard him say he doesn't want kids.
Mhm.
Apparently, he's always wanted to be a dad. And
Mhm.
so his dad says, you clearly haven't thought about it. He admitted he hadn't been thinking about it. If this is the person that you're going to be with, that's something that you need to start thinking about because that might not be a possibility. She's what, 49?
And it sounds as though he's their only child.
I don't know. It did seem like that, right?
They said, "Oh, he's our only boy." So I'm like, "Do they have girl children?" But
Yeah.
because they kept talking about how their friends have grandkids now, I'm like, "Well, if they
Right.
had more kids, then why would it be all on him?"
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the other children are younger. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if he is the only child and this is the parents' first, and he's always wanted kids, and
Mm-hmm.
this is his parents' first time hearing he don't want kids, that is not a conversation you have in that way.
On national television. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So going into episode 7, we can just start with them because after they meet with his parents, then they meet with her friend Haley, who is 32. So
Okay.
Vanessa, I guess, has younger friends, and Haley is one of them.
Mhm.
She cuts him off so much in this whole sit down conversation thing. It just was Haley from the conversation said it was bad vibes because they were getting into it, I guess, like, having these mini back and forth.
Mhm.
Yeah, about like being cut off and him not being able to get a word in edgewise and all of that stuff. So I found this an interesting sit down.
Yeah, she wants him to tell about the process and how they met, but wants him to say this and don't forget to say that and tell it like this or that. You can clearly see he's getting frustrated. Okay, well, you tell the story then.
Right. Since you got your degree and you know everything, you tell the
Right.
story.
He's and he says, we're both, she's strong and independent, okay? And we both have fiery personalities. I only see one of y'all with a fiery personality.
I was like, Logan, is the fire in the room with us?
But he's watching his words because he's actually on eggshell.
Mhm. Are you screaming, crying, throwing up? Did you? She said that like 5 different times.
Oh, but yeah, the friends has bad vibes and girl, call it, you know your friend. This is your best friend. You've seen her in action. You know what it
Well,
is.
and Vanessa alludes to that when Haley, the friend, starts off saying, I saw some issues with the personalities and the dynamics weren't right. And she starts describing them. And Vanessa goes, does that remind you of any other of my relationships? And she goes, all of them. And so I
Mhm.
think like maybe there's some reflection that needs to happen on Vanessa's part if these are the dynamics, like no matter what the personality of the man is. Because she stayed away from Chris because she thought that was what she typically went for. But it seems like even when choosing a different person, those same dynamics are coming up. And so I just wonder if she needs to do some reflection before. Like, I understand her sisters are married, they have their families. She wants to be a part of that. And that's a huge driving force in her trying out this process and wanting to find her person. But I think if you can do the work before you meet your person, maybe that could create a better environment for the both of you in the relationship. Not a perfect one. We always learn in relationship, but something got to change, and it seems like it's her.
She's treating him like a child. She says that she's 10 steps ahead of him. I just, I don't know if she's dated younger men before, but I think the age gap amplifies
Mm-hmm.
this. Like
Mm-hmm.
he told his parents, I'm still becoming more sure of myself and she has a lot more life experience and speaks her mind on when she doesn't like something, which is all the time. So I think that adds to her already being the way that she is.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not going to work. I don't even know if being with an older person would fix it, but being with a man this much younger than you definitely won't help.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Uh, what you just said actually reminds me. I think we should go to Leah and Chris next.
Okay.
But I'm starting to think like at 26, 27, 28, like those are the ages that you're starting to find your voice and maybe starting to say things with your chest a little bit. So I
Mm,
don't think I find it surprising that Chris and Logan are going through this thing where it's taking a while for them to speak up about stuff.
mm.
So maybe there's a little bit of grace there for just that stage of life. Like I'm thinking back on, yeah, I think just that stage of life is very transformative,
Hmm.
you
And I
know?
think they're kind of right where they need to be,
Absolutely.
but being paired with someone so much older than you, I just don't think that that's going to work.
It makes it difficult. Like I remember a specific instance of needing to articulate myself, and like I think I called my sister crying. So maybe that's why I'm sympathetic with whatever Chris is going on. But I remember calling her crying and saying like, this is what I want to say, but this is my fear when I do say it. And then having to get some like,
Hmm.
you know, somebody to say, girl, you
Just
better
do it.
open your mouth and talk, you know? And yeah, so that was in that age range.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Chris and Leah.
yes.
Yeah. So I think they're back at the apartment.
Yeah.
And I think he finally brings up her being overbearing and how it's driving him crazy. Um, and she says, well, I think of it as a we thing and not a me thing. So I think this is where they just have different perspectives on how this week to 2 week experience is supposed to look. She's a flight attendant who's always gone
Mm-hmm.
away from people, lone, like she's around the public, but not around people she loves and knows. So she feels lonely. And then he has never lived with someone. And so he's feeling overwhelmed. I think they just need to be open about what this realistically looks like
Yeah.
for
He
them.
he likes alone time, and she sees alone time as a chore because she has to do it so much. I think she's ready to be lost in a relationship. I think she's looking for a best friend who she can do everything with. And it's like, he's not that person. I also think Leah she needs maybe someone who's an extrovert like herself. But either way, extrovert or not, I don't think it's realistic for her to expect that her partner will completely resolve her loneliness. I don't know that that's realistic.
It's kind of from one extreme to the other because
Yeah.
of the nature of her job. So no
Mhm,
matter who she gets with, say you get with a person who like is excited that you're back home off of your flight,
mhm.
but that doesn't mean that they want you in their skin.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're back home, but we resume whatever that routine looks like
Mhm, mhm.
because it's the extreme of when you're away. So you may
Yeah.
even have to reacclimate to being back in the same space. I don't know. I've never traveled that often for work to know what that dynamic would look like.
Yeah. Um, Even if he can give a little bit more, right, with being around her, I think he just needs to set boundaries like, okay, I miss you. I also want to be around you, but I need this alone time. Like, this man can't even go in the shower. This man can't even go take a nap. Like, I think that's very extreme. And as an introvert, that would drive me nuts. Like, I would have probably ended it over that. I mean, impulsively. Like, you know what?
And and
Forget it.
I'm struggling to figure out, is it that he's just not into her, or he's just is so off-putting for him how overbearing she is?
It might be a
Which one is it?
combination.
Or both?
Combination. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I thought, the conversation went well with her trying to hear what he had to say and then him actually being able to express.
You think
Uh,
so?
I think
I still don't I didn't walk away with feeling like she got it.
I don't think she got I think she walked with her expectation maybe being that he still conforms, but she wasn't dismissive.
What I get from Leah is when this man needs his space, she's gonna be pouting.
Yeah.
Like how she was
Why do
sitting
you
over
hate
there.
me? You
Yeah,
hate me
like
so much.
she's over here reading her book, looking all sad in bed.
I wonder what her friendship circle looks like because she talks about how she's around her family or her family's in California with her. And so I just wonder, I think Leah, when she gets that relationship that she's looking for, just has to make sure her life is full outside of that person. And I think that's the case for everybody. I'm a person who feels like you should still have your own things going for you. Like, no one person is supposed to just like solve all your problems unless that person is you. And I just believe in community. I'll say it like that. I don't believe in it being all on one person. I believe in, okay, when I want to talk about my shows, I talk to Miosha. When I want to talk about this, I have another friend who might be interested in talking about that stuff, or if I want to talk about this other thing, these friends might not be interested in it. That might not be the stage of life they're in. I can go to them and talk about it. But imagine if I were coming to you with all of everything. You would do your best to manage it, but I think it's just too much of an expectation to think someone else, one person, can fulfill all your desires. And you can't even fulfill all your desires.
Yeah, that's way too much. Also, with the whole her family's based in California, but she's a flight attendant, we never got more clarity around how often is she in her home base. I know it's different depending on the airlines and the type of flight hauls that you do, but I was thinking, if she's gone so many days out of the week or whatever that looks like, is she realistically expecting him to pick up and move from Miami to California to be in her home base,
Mhm.
but she offline on a plane across the country most of the
Yeah.
week? I mean,
Yeah. I think
Leah.
it's a lot to expect. There's a lot to expect. Okay. And then let's talk about, I'm trying to get the people out of the way who we can, because I feel like we'll have a lot to say about John and Teresa and Derek and Piper.
So let's do Andrew and Libby.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Andrew said his friends put things into perspective. And so I feel like Andrew came here to have fun. He's had a good time, and now he's like slow launching the breakup.
Ding, 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 ding. You are correct.
And he's
Yeah.
using his friends to do it. Perfect, perfect excuse.
Yeah, oh, my friend sobered me up to the reality of what this would look like. Oh, what did he say? You mentioned that you wish you would have taken a gap year to travel. Now he's putting it back on her. I don't want you to miss out on certain things. Well, that's the obvious when you found out her age. That if she was to whether do long distance or pick up and move or whatever that looks like, you're
Mhm.
38. She's 22. And she
Mm,
told you she still like to be outside.
very much, very much.
So, but he probably still like to be outside too. So,
Okay. So then let's do Derek and Pfeiffer.
and just to put a bow on it, Libby says, she doesn't feel like she would be giving up anything. She doesn't see it that way. He says he's having fun now, but really boring at home. I don't believe it. Andrew, you had two kids under two in your 20s. Now these kids are bigger. You own a bar. You're back outside. That's what I think it is. And your friends told us what we needed, what we already knew. And it's fine. Just be honest about it.
Okay. Now we could go to Derek and Pfeiffer. So they
Okay.
meet up with Ray Treese, who is Derek's cousin. She is 34 from, I'm guessing she's from Texas. She sounds very Texas. She
Yeah,
sounds
she's
so
probably from
Southern.
Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, she sounds extremely Southern. Uh, she talked about like the possibility of Pfeiffer having to move. And Pfeiffer says, oh, like I moved cross country before and I enjoy change, so I don't have a problem doing it. She's very optimistic about it. Even when she's talking about Dallas, she says when she moves to Dallas that she wants to maintain her own life.
Yeah. I mean, for her to be 22, 23, that sounds about right. I don't think it's
23.
the issue of moving. Like she said, she picked up and moved before, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it something she probably hasn't thought about because of her age is each time you pick up and move and as you age, the experience is different. So say she moved to Seattle at 21 or 22, that would may look different than at 26 or 27 moving to a different place because you're older and life is always evolving. So,
What she does for a living, but apparently her contract is ending, and so it makes it easier for her to be the one to move to Dallas. And
mhm.
yeah, I don't know what she does, but like, is she going to be able to find work quickly in Dallas? Like, what does that look like for her? I'm sure she's considered it, but those are just questions that I had. Uh,
Something that the cousin said where I was like, "Oh, I hope Pfeiffer listens to this," is and Derek too. She was saying that, a lot is going to evolve and change, and that the woman that she is at 23 likely probably won't be the exact woman that she'll be in 5 to 10 years. And I think for anyone who's considering an age gap relationship, especially the older person, like you're always thinking about, oh, when I'm maybe 60, they're 40 or whatever. Like it's always your age and then wherever they are. But
mhm.
whenever it's the younger person, there isn't, I don't think, as much emphasis on like, okay, well, say you met them at 30. Well, what is it? They may be a different person at 40. The change
Yeah,
between 30 and 40 may not be that big, but definitely between 20 and 30. So for Pfeiffer
yeah,
at
and
33 is going to be different. So,
I feel like that's something you have to consider in any relationship, right? But especially if you have like decades of life to live. So, like for example, who someone is at 30 might not be who they are at 40, depending on what their 30, what 30 looks like for them. But we know that there might be super drastic changes from 20 to 40 just because of like the stages of life that you might be in. And so I think it's something that anybody in any relationship should consider. but then especially when you're in a place in your life that's so mercurial, like everything is changing so fast all the time in your 20s. So yeah, he really should consider that. But I feel like he has the temperament for that type of stuff. So I don't know. He just makes it seem like he can handle what's to come.
The even the way the cousin worded it, I was like, that's an interesting way of wording it. She said, what Pfeiffer would be willing to put up with, would she be really okay with in so many years? I'm like, huh, that's
Raytrice was on it. Correct.
mm.
Correct. she was she was so southern. I loved
The
it. I
people with
loved
Texas
it.
accents are gonna come for you in the comments.
No, trust me, please. I this is me this is me admiring the accent and trying to imitate it. Trust me, I loved it. When she was like, Pfeiffer's Pfeiffer's 23. Like it was just so cute. I want to talk like that. So please do not take it as an insult. I love the
D-
accent.
Random. Do you think I picked up a Texas accent when I lived there?
No, ma'am.
Yeah,
No, ma'am.
yeah.
I don't. But you know who has picked up an accent? Like so Eve, you know the rapper?
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah, she has a British
She
accent.
has some of her like London accent, but she still
Hmm.
has her Philly, and it's the most beautiful sounding thing. She's by the way, I went through a phase where I was upset when Eve came out with that Satisfaction album.
Hmm.
I was her biggest fan, and I still am. I think
Oh.
she's just one of the greatest. Yeah, I think she's one of the greatest female rappers. So gifted, so talented, so fun. I
Hmm.
love the show. So yeah, I love Eve. Anyway, so they have a conversation. We gotta stay focused. All right. So it picks up where they're in the kitchen having a conversation, and Pfeiffer, I guess, has this realization like maybe I've been overly optimistic about things, like thinking about, oh, I'm going to move wherever you are. And apparently it's been weighing on her because she's never wanted to change her life for a man.
I'm just like, it's interesting that we've got that this far in. Like it sounds as though she's been feeling this way, but when she was talking to her parents, that didn't come up, even with him. And so I get it, especially being 23, you wouldn't want to just pick up and move just for one person. But
Mhm.
I feel like not that it's too late, but it's interesting that she's saying it now.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things to consider. So she said, "Yeah, I don't necessarily care for Seattle, so I don't want to be there, but Dallas being the next place is solely because of you." And she seems to want to have a lot of her independence, which I don't get the sense that Derek would be infringing upon her independence in
Mhm.
any way. But yeah, maybe Dallas just isn't a place that she would naturally want to gravitate to, like that she would naturally gravitate toward. And now it's like, okay, this isn't somewhere I would even think about going had it not been for you. So I need to screw it.
And he is a nice guy, but he has no skin in the game. His life gets to remain the same, if not get better. He has this new girlfriend that he's excited about, and he hasn't offered up like, "Oh, well, I'll help you move," or "I can stand in financially if it takes a while to find a job," or
Yeah.
"I'm established with friends in the area." So I think it's hitting her that she's doing all the heavy lifting in terms of that aspect.
Yeah,
So.
his life is fairly untouched. So
And
yeah.
and then he says one more thing. And it doesn't seem as though it sits well with her, but she doesn't really give a clear answer. He says, "Oh, well, I want her to be at peace with the decision." And then she says, "So so I need to be at peace in order for you to say yes about this?" And then that's all we get.
Yeah.
She doesn't
I
seem.
I kind of get what he's saying. So for a while I didn't until she summarized it. Cuz I was like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" But when she summarized it, I get it. Like he's saying if you're not good like that's just gonna impact our relationship anyway. So in order for the relationship to be good, you need to be secure in the decision you're making. If not, then that's just gonna have negative consequences on both of us individually, but then as a pair. So I
Yeah.
kind of get it. Like, don't make a decision you're uncomfortable with for my sake when it's just gonna end up being a hot mess for me too.
Maybe she took it as he, I don't know. Like sometimes when you're in a situation like this, if you're the one that feels a way about something, not that we would be in a situation like this, let's make that clear. But say you feel a way and then the other person's like, it's of no consequence to them either way. And they're like, but I just need you to be, it can make you feel like they're trying to rush you through your feelings about it. I don't think that
Yeah.
that was trying to do, but it can be interpreted that way.
Especially when he's the everything will be fine person, which is
Yes.
something that she mentioned. Like, I don't like that's not helpful to hear, oh, everything will be fine. But I think from his perspective, like whether we continue down this road or not, like again, he doesn't have much skin in the game. His life is going to remain unchanged. And so for him, everything will be fine. But I can also understand as an older person, like looking at her stressing about making this decision and feeling like, well, you don't have to make that decision on my account. Like, it's
Hmm.
okay for you to choose whatever it is that you want to choose.
And did they ever say that they would be against long distance for a period of time?
Right, because I'm like, okay, I don't mind a long distance.
We know.
I don't mind. It's so like, especially when you're dating, like obviously if they were thinking about marriage, like if this were Love is Blind, okay,
Yeah.
we got some conversations to have. But if you're dating, and both people want to maintain their own lifestyle and there's no rush to change at this point, why is that so awful?
And in my mind, I would think you date long distance, go check under the hood, go take a trip down to Dallas and see how things are. No one's asking you on commitment day to say you're
Yeah,
moving to Dallas. Just say, hey, like, I want to give it more time. Let me go see how you live. Maybe I'm not meeting your kids and spending a bunch of time with them, but let me
yeah,
verify that what you've presented is actually
it's
true.
accurate.
Maybe I meet some of your other family other than your kids just to get a feel for where we're at. I don't know. It just because it's only been a week and a half.
However long, child, we keep changing the time. It's only been 3 weeks. It's only been 10 days. It's only been a day. Like we keep
It's
changing
been
it
less than a month.
for
So
sure.
why would we know that for sure? So why would you commit to moving anywhere? Get on a flight, go check things out in Dallas, and then
Yeah.
see how you
And
like him. Hmm.
see if he can get on a flight to come see you. Because if he can't even get on a flight to come see you, okay, what happens when you want to take vacations together? What happens when there's a wedding to attend and, on your side and he needs to be
Hmm.
your plus one? Like, you really need to get a feel for what his life looks like. And I don't think long distance is awful to do that with. In her case,
No.
she still has 3 months in Seattle. So maybe they were thinking, oh, we'll do some of that then. But why is this a decision that has to be made right now? Why can't it be made in 3 months? What if you decide to renew your contract if that's a possibility? Like, I just don't think with this show, no, none of the decisions are really like urgent.
No, I think all of these people, well, no, I take that back.
Ooh.
Some of these people should cut things off on commitment day,
Oh, some
but
some of them should have cut it off before it started.
I know at the retreat, but for these two, I wouldn't mind if they're like, okay, we'll give it more time to spend time in each other's cities and then see if it's worth the move or
I've learned in my life there's like, because sometimes when you're young, you feel like everything has to happen immediately. There's a sense of urgency, right? And
Mhm.
I think I've kind of learned, hey, give stuff time to work
Mhm.
out. You don't have to make the decision right now. Nobody is forcing you. And if somebody is forcing you and you let that decision like okay, if I don't make a decision is made for me, I know that I can I can live with that.
Hmm.
Like I can
Yep.
adapt to whatever, and maybe it wasn't for me in the first place. Anyway, nothing is as urgent in their scenario. So I hope she
And
remembers that.
luckily she's 23. So girl, you got time.
Lots of it. Lots of it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's end with John and Teresa.
That is.
Uh, so I think in this episode, he comes back after his lunch brunch with his
Mhm.
sister, and he tells her, "Hey, my sister kept asking about age, so it's something that I told her." She was obviously uncomfortable with that.
I just, to me, that's not a good way to start off with a partner, asking them to kind of lie through omission about something like this. I don't
Mm,
know. It's just, I wouldn't want to put, I don't want my partner to put me in that position, and I would try not to put them in that position.
yeah,
I,
yeah. Yeah, John seemed pretty solid, and he said honestly, the more that he talks with her, the more they talk, the more
mm,
concerned he is, because as much as people talk about him being the wild card, like, oh, someday down the line you might want kids, so you might want to pull out, or you might want to experience something, so you might want to pull out. It seems like he's thinking that way about her. He's saying, like, I don't want something that I can't control to be the thing that messes us up. I don't want to be blindsided when something you've known all along is now all of a sudden like a shock to you.
you know what, Teresa? I I don't know if I see her as the wild card. I see her as the I'm going to have you a part of my life in a way as much as I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So he may end up being a secret. Like something she said later around, oh well, my kids will find out, the community will know, other people will see it. So I could see her being like, yeah, we're together, but maybe this function you don't come to me with. Or we're together, but
Yeah.
maybe that family trip you don't come. He would have to be very comfortable with being available to her when she wants it,
Yeah.
a thing with him, and then kind of living his own life, doing his own thing whenever she deems it's not appropriate.
For a while at least, it sounds, like I
If
think the
not
first
ever.
yeah, I
She's
think the first
54. She's
year
set
will
in her
be rocky.
ways, which is
Hmm?
fine. Like she's 54, set in her ways, wants to do things how she wants to do it. He's 27. So every year that she gets older, he gets older, but the gap is still there. So maybe when he's 35, she'll feel different. Or when he hits 30, come on.
Mhm.
I don't see that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He has very valid concerns. And again, I just think that she is not ready, and she needs a man who is maybe in his 40s, maybe has kids of his own. Like that's what she needs. Someone an active man in his 50s, or
Mm-hmm.
for right now. I'm not saying she can't be open to it later on, but with as uncomfortable as this makes her, it just seems to me like, okay, then don't move forward to it. Don't move forward with it. Nobody's forcing you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then all three of her kids show up,
Mhm.
and I guess she wasn't expecting that. The oldest asked John why he wanted to come on the experiment, and of course, he says, "Oh, Miami is so superficial. They did a lot of recruiting in Miami. He's from Miami. Chris is from Miami. It
Mhm.
might just be those two. Where is more Logan from?
Logan. Oh, I don't know. Was it Ohio?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Okay.
Somewhere
They
in the middle
must
of
have done scouting in Miami, Dallas, somewhere in California, and somewhere in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, okay, no, this is flawed because Baltimore. That's where.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out something that I won't figure out. Let's carry on. Okay, so she mentions, oh, living with him is fine. Like he's being a good boy. Like, girl, you gotta watch.
She would not have said that if he were an older man.
Oh no,
She
I
would
think
never say that.
the expectation would have been different had it been an older man. So she wouldn't have been, oh, he's being, saying he's being a good boy. Maybe, oh, he's being a gentleman or whatever. But yeah, it just, as much as maybe people want to ignore the age gap, things like that just reveal it even more. Uh, so the youngest asked how he felt about their ages. And he seemed cool with it. He was like, it kind of is what it is. I've known about it for some time. Whatever, it's not a big deal. And the youngest agrees. He's like, yeah, and at least you won't have to step in as a step parent because we're of age. Which I think she has so many things working in her favor if she wanted to make it work. But again, I understand she's a mom. That would be awkward for most people.
Yeah, daughter, I think, asked the toughest questions. The son seemed more laid back about the whole thing. And so at first I was thinking maybe she will just reveal the age, but she still wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. I got some clarity about her situation during this episode. So I guess the day after her son's graduation is when she left. And so that's a hard transition. Like you just close one chapter of your life and you're immediately opening the other one. I think she said it was the same day that she left from his graduation. So that's why I just think she should have taken a beat. I appreciated the support from her oldest son, who was saying, like, okay, but maybe you've put us first so much that you've neglected yourself and maybe it's time to do so. But it's just so clear that she's not ready for something like this.
I think she kind of, maybe, probably not on purpose, but she's bypassing the step of empty nesting that I think a lot of parents just naturally have to adjust to. Like her youngest is going off to college, but she'll still be a mom and still have to be
No, he's out of college. It was his
the
college
youngest.
graduation.
It was his
Yeah.
college graduation. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe she's like adjusting for empty nesting, but not taking the time. Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think some parents, it's one thing when your kids graduate high school, they go to college, but you're still pretty involved, I think, even when they're in college. And
Yeah.
so it's like she skipped that step of even just the all of the emotions that come with like being done, so to speak.
Mhm.
What's my purpose? What's driving me day to day? Your kids that mean so much to you, this chapter has come to a close. This kind of interrupted that period, I think.
It's too much to deal with at one time. Like,
And maybe that's
oh,
why she's so emotional.
yeah, oh, my son
As
just graduated and now I'm coming out to the community and how is it going to look to everybody that, oh, my youngest just graduated and now it's almost like, with the Disney the Disney star transition when they
Mhm.
go from clean
Mhm.
cut image to, oh, we got to go all the way wild so that people can see us as an adult. Like maybe that's how she's seeing herself. Like, oh, people are going to see me going from, oh, this mother or whatever to now I'm this cougar. And maybe she
Mhm.
thinks it's too stark of a difference. If that's what she's concerned about, I don't know.
And also something she said in the very first episode, I think, was something about how on dating sites, guys never put age the age bracket like all the way up to hers, she feels like. And
Mm.
I wondered, I'm like, so was she always putting her age of interest lower even on the dating sites, or was she actually putting it higher? Maybe it doesn't sound like she was, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So when her kids are asking her questions like, "Oh, about where do you see this going?" and stuff like that, she
Hmm.
seems quite non-committal. Like she's like, "Oh, we're just seeing where," like she doesn't want it to seem like, "Oh no, this is my
It's
man, my man,
serious.
my man."
Hmm.
And of course John picked up on that, which I think most people would like, "Hold on, because we're pretty solid, but you don't want your kids to think we're solid. Like, what's going on here?"
It, they're solid, but they're not solid.
He's solid.
He's
She's
solid.
she's liquid and gas.
Yeah, she's liquid and evasive.
Yeah.
She's not the fact that she won't reveal this age, or they don't want to reveal the ages. She's not solid. Nothing about that gives solid.
Yeah. And so I agreed with him where he's like, "Oh, I kind of wish she would have," he didn't say it like this, but she would have stood on business
Hmm.
because I think that would have appeared to the kids like, oh, she's serious about this. This is something that I'm moving forward with. They obviously could see how serious he was and how much he cared about their mom. And so yeah, again, it's almost like she's a teenager again and she doesn't know how to stand in her decisions. Like, and again, I have some grace for that because this is new for her, I'm assuming, on this scale of like introducing to the kids and stuff like that. I don't know if she's dated younger before. So I want to show some grace because whenever you're trying anything new, you have to find your way. But this was not the place to do it.
I also wonder, because her daughter then just flat out asked, okay, well, what are
Yeah.
y'all's age? What's his age? And
Yeah.
she still refuses to say how old he is. And all the kids are like, well, we're hoping he's at least over 30. Like he looks like he could be 30 to 35. And so, and then I think one of them said, if not, that would be very weird.
The
And
youngest one.
so, what that kind of told me is I think she's extremely self conscious around her children, maybe their viewpoint of her, of like,
Yeah.
why are you interested in someone our age? This is weird.
Hmm. Yeah.
She's highly self conscious about that.
Well, you know, it is what it is. The daughter said, she's just very protective of her mom and wants to make sure she's thinking about things realistically. And yeah, I think I understood the reason for her saying, "Oh, I don't want to share the age because I want y'all to get to know him the way that I got to know him." But girl, it's still going to be a shock when they find out his age, whether it's now or later.
And all that will happen is they will start to replay certain conversations. Like you can meet someone, say they're 30, and you're like, wow, you're mature for 30, or you've accomplished a lot for 30.
Yeah.
Or maybe they haven't, but the reality is they're still 30. Like
Hmm.
nothing, that does not change. Even if your life experience is beyond that,
Hmm.
your age is still your age. I don't.
Yes. However, comma, and this kind of leads to the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
If you okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they're at this dinner where I guess it's their last night together, and everybody is sitting at the table, and it comes up. Oh, who did you guys have? Who did you guys have? Whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so she is sharing that her kids came and she didn't share the age, and the hosts are asking questions. From the jump, she felt very defensive about this. Like, because I
Mm-hmm.
remember Nick was asking something and she couldn't have cut him off. And so I'm like, whoa, she's like, she's a little defensive here. But then it escalates. At that point, I'm like, it's her choice whether she decides to tell
Yeah.
them or not. Like, I respect her decision. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's gonna be better handling it the way that she's handling it, but if that's how she sees fit and that's how she sees fit, that's her business. And so she's going on about her reasons, which I hate because you don't have to explain yourself, just stand in your decision. I decided not to do that. I didn't feel comfortable just yet, but I have a plan for it, period.
Yeah.
And so while she's talking, Leah's like, you know how they say, me thinking I have a neutral facial like position or whatever, and then you play it back and it's like all the faces. That's what Leo was doing. But here's what I didn't like. So I do think it's nobody's business. Like even if you disagree with how she's handling things, it isn't anybody's business. I think what I didn't love about this whole scenario was Leah's over there making her faces or whatever. Cool. But the host, I keep wanting to call her Amanda.
Natalie?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Natalie. So Natalie's like, oh, well, Leah, you're quite expressive over there. And I know they do this to stir up drama, but don't do stuff to stir up drama. And then there's drama, and then you want to shut it down. No, no, this is what you came for, whatever that song says. So yeah, I didn't
Okay,
like this.
Rihanna.
Right. Leah's making her facial expressions and we don't hear anything from her, but Natalie asked her to share. So Leah's
Mm,
sharing like in her very expressive way, which I was like, oh God, Leah's the wrong person because she's just herself
mm,
out loud. And so she's telling Natalie, well, we all went, we all did the age reveal. I thought that was the whole point
Hmm.
of the whole thing. And it's like, it's interesting because why are you not sharing this? And, it's not something that we're ashamed of. We're all doing it. I don't think she was saying that she was ashamed, but she was trying to explain why it was so confusing to her or so interesting to her.
Hmm.
Um, and then they start going back and forth because naturally Teresa felt like she was coming for her.
Hmm.
And so she was like, well, I don't know, and you can keep your opinion in your head or whatever. And she's like,
Hmm.
well, I mean, it's still going to be voiced. And then Teresa's like, oh, well, it doesn't have to be, or I don't know. It was just chaotic.
Well, she said like I don't want to hear it, and then Leah was like, "It was already said."
I have to say, I should just been like, I understand, shut it down. Like, there were
And
multiple
then
times where I felt like this conversation could have ended. And then again, ultimately, they her kids. It's her relationship. She can decide what she wants to do, and everybody else can decide what they wanted to do. So
what I didn't care for, so they had their little back and forth. You
I
know,
know
the
what you're saying.
host, she stirs the pot, and then she's like, "Well, actually, the
For
process,
clarity,
yeah, it's reveal whatever you want." Okay, this show is called Age of Attraction, and so in that moment, I was just thinking, Teresa, while you're going, or Teresa, you're going back and forth with Leah. You need to be paying attention to the facial
your
expressions of
man.
your man. Your man is not happy about this, and he's tried to tell you in different ways. He already told his sister. You
Yeah.
know, the sister's going to tell the mom. Your kids are going to watch his back, so you're worried about you're telling her to mind her business. You need to mind your business with your man.
Which, generally speaking, I'm like, yeah, like if I think I would have felt differently if Leah was not asked, then I would have been like, Leah, sit there and keep your mouth closed. Ain't nobody asked you nothing. But then when I saw that it was asked of her, and again, I would have handled it differently. I would have been like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I just was listening to what she was saying and trying to understand where she was coming from, and I can see it, and it's her choice to do it. I would have shut it down, right? But that's not Leah's personality now, is it?
And something that Teresa said
Mm-hmm.
that solidifies, she's extremely self-conscious and I think led to her being even more defensive with Leah because
Yeah.
Leah's also in an age gap where she's older too, not as much, but she said she was talking about how much there's a double standard. And so it isn't just
Yes.
that she feels a way about him being her kid's age, it's the fact that she's a woman and she's doing it. And she's still, I guess, not resting or at peace with the fact that her situation is uncommon. So she's the it's stacking up for her. It's the kids
Yeah.
thing, it's the fact that he's under 30, she wishes he was older,
Yes.
and it's the perception of her being the older one, being the woman, because people wouldn't think twice, according to her, if it were a man. I don't know that I always believe that, but
No, I was gonna say that, like, cause I listen. I sure was judging Jorge,
I
but
think a lot I think a lot of people were even like when I used to live in Austin, like
Mhm.
downtown, certain areas, you would see the age gap relationships of the much older men and
Yeah.
these college age looking girls, and you naturally stare because you're just like, how does that
Yeah.
work?
Even if you're not judging, like it just,
No, it's just
you do a double take.
odd.
Yeah, and I think again, if he were in his 30s, so it's that he's in his 20s really. So I think
Hmm.
for me, the like 20 years, it's like okay, depending on what age you're at. Like even Pfeiffer and Derek, I think that's a lot. There's like two different stages. And so as kind as I think he is, most of this review you've heard us say, Pfeiffer, go live your life. Like
Run.
leave this man alone. He's just, yeah, it's too much. But if they were like a 40 and a 60, no big deal. A 30 and a 50, no big
Hmm.
deal. So
Yeah,
I think it's just
she's
the stage
she's
of life.
dealing with societal standards, her not being comfortable with her kids, and I think they were, I don't know, she was maybe triggered. I'm not sure. She didn't want her in her business, but she was already very defensive.
Yeah. It was
So,
tough. I think both ladies are cool, you know. I didn't walk away like, oh, this person is I think everybody, you know, what did they say? A hit dog will holler. And I think when she was saying, oh, as a woman, there's a stigma, and Leah's in a situation where she's like, hold on, what? I don't feel that
hmm
way at all. But also, Leah, you look significantly younger than, and you got your box braids, and girl, you look so much younger than you are. It's different, and you don't
and
have
she's only
kids.
41.
She's only
And she's
41.
she's only
Yep.
41, so she
Yep.
hasn't, Teresa's middle age. Like she's dealing with, I think, a lot more things societally than
Mm-hmm.
Leah has
Leah.
crossed yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So anyway, y'all.
ooh, let's give our predictions. Who do you think is gonna say yes or no? Let's do it.
Okay.
Who we gonna start with?
I almost call her Abby, Libby, and Andrew.
It's a no.
For both of them,
Yes.
I think Andrew's gonna say no for sure. I think Libby is a wild card for
Libby
sure
is a wild card. I could see her saying yes just to say yes, but not
for the
actually.
plot.
Yeah, not actually. Like, oh yeah, that one time. Literally, this whole thing has been, I think, for something for her to talk about 10
It's a
years from
story.
now. For experience. Oh, in my 20s, I was on a reality dating show.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure there are opportunities. She could do other stuff. Like she could go on Perfect Match at her
Mm-hmm.
age. She could maybe go on The Challenge. I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, girl, this is a career move for Libby, and I'm not mad at it. Okay, so I think Andrew's gonna be a no. Libby might be leaning yes.
Leaning us. Okay. Logan and Vanessa.
I think Logan's gonna say no. I think Vanessa. Hmm. I think Vanessa is gonna be a yes, but I'm not sure.
I don't think
I
she
could
liked this man.
I could see her having a similar moment to what she had with Chris. So I'm gonna say, but they're both gonna be no's.
Yeah, I say they're both no's.
Yeah.
Okay. John and Teresa.
John's a yes.
John's a yes.
I think Teresa's gonna say yes and
Okay,
break
so
up
two
later.
yeses. I think they're both yeses, and I agree they will break up later. She's gonna keep that man in hiding.
Oh man. Okay. Derek and Pfeiffer.
I think Pfeiffer's a no.
I
I
think
think
so.
Derek's a yes.
I think I think Derek is down for whatever. Like he's just very
Hmm
okay, nonchalant a little bit. So yeah, I see that.
Okay.
And who
Chris
else are we missing?
and
Oh,
Leah.
I think Leah's
Le-
gonna say yes, and Chris is gonna say no.
Agreed. A
Yeah.
yes and a no. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Is that
Well,
everybody? Yeah.
I look forward to this reunion if they have one. I don't know. It's hard to imagine that the episode is going to be just 5 ceremonies, but I guess that is what it's going to be like. So,
They'll probably do a bunch of confessional scenes. They may do a scene with like just the girls getting together, just the
okay.
guys, a bunch of waste of time.
Watch on 2X is what you're saying, or
Yeah.
1.5.
Yes, but I would love to have a reunion. Bring Jorge back so he can get roasted.
Who's going to roast him? Not Nick and Amanda.
I know. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
I wish
Her name's
Vanilla would have said.
Okay, sorry. Her name's Natalie. I keep thinking her name's Natalie Joy. There's this show called
Mhm.
Army Wives where a character was Amanda Joy. And so I think that's why it's like setting my mind to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Natalie. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. But yeah, I wish Vanilla would have said yes to Justin. Bring Justin back. Maybe she can get a redo because he was in his 40s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was he, 45? Oh, we didn't find out.
44, 43, 44.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right, y'all. Well, those are our thoughts on this or these 2 episodes, and we will be back for the next one. We're looking out to see when Maths will be back, and maybe
Mhm.
Love is Blind UK is coming soon. But we might have maybe some podcast episodes too coming. I don't
Mhm.
know. But we will see y'all on the next one. Bye.
Right. Bye.